welcome back. Well, if you remember right at the very beginning, we started off creating our model with a cylinder, and we gave that cylinder 20 segments, and these are the 20 segments going around here all the way there, and that kind of put us with vertices at the top and the bottom which were centralized. And throughout the creation and modeling of our geometry, we retained those vertices there and these sections. Well, this allows us to more or less keep our geometry symmetrical or asymmetrical. However, whilst modeling in this area, what I did was concentrate in this area but not in this area. So now the geometry on this side doesn't match the geometry on that side. And if we're going to copy the wings later on, or make a mirror copy, then this needs to be the same as that. So one way we can do that is actually, first of all, selecting all the vertices that run down the center spine. So we're just going to make sure that ignore back facing is unchecked, and now I'm going to go down, selecting just those middle ones selected there, so we can get rid of that one. So we're selecting just the middle vertices. I'm pressing Control as I go down, overlapping if need be. There's the last one, I can just see it faintly. And the last one down there. Now what we can do with these vertices is align them. We're familiar with that, make planar, and we want it on the x-axis. So if we click X, now if there was any strain either to the left or to the right, it's now lined them all up along the x-axis. Now that we've done that, we can zoom out a little bit, starting at the top. Let's just deselect them first of all. Actually these I'm going to zoom in to. Pressing the Control key, I'm going to cross, and I'm selecting those vertices running down there. Coming down, just going beyond here, so select those, and not going over the center section but just to the right of it. Select them, pan down a little bit more, coming outside of this section here but within these. Control down, select those, outside but above these, down and down to that section there. Now we've selected those vertices, we can simply delete them. And if I go into perspective mode now and come back, there we can see we have split the fuselage completely in half, and all our vertices are running directly along the x-axis. Let's go back to the front view, zoom in. So now if we go up to our root editable poly there, and now we go mirror, it's on the x-axis, we want to copy, and we say OK. Now we need to zoom in a little bit, because as you can see there is a gap there, and we need to close that gap. So select and move, and let's move that across, and what we need to do is get it so it matches up there, so it's now one line. We can now select the fuselage, or the left side of the fuselage, pop down, and we're going to click on attach, and then we click the fuselage on the right hand side. Now it has attached it. Now we can go to vertex, and we're selecting all the vertices. Now at the moment, running down the center section, we have, for each side we have a vertices, and what we need to do is weld those vertices together. So let's go down the middle section again, select those, pan down, press Control, go down there, press Control, down to there. That's where our last ones was, so press Control, down there, press Control, down there, Control, select those down there, Control, select those there. Now we can come down to weld. There we go. And if we click settings, vertices, it's telling us before there were 606 vertices, and after it's welded there will be 544. Now I know that there are some vertices which are quite close together, so I'm going to go into our perspective viewport before I click on the check section there. Zoom out, and I want to come up. Let me just get this a bit here. I'm looking at these vertices here, there and there, because the space between them is only 0.03. Now they haven't linked together, but if I just come back a little bit, I know I've got some up here which really are close, and I can see that they're not welded together, so I can click OK on that. That is now welded. So if I click off the box, click one of those vertices and then pan round, we can see that our geometry is clean and that only the vertices that needed to be welded are now welded. So we now have a fuselage which is the same on both sides. And now I know that I can apply our turbo smooth with a high degree of confidence that everything's going to be fine. However, just before we do, what I want to do is make sure that this edge here, let's press shift, and this edge down here, select that, and then press shift, and we're going to apply a chamfer. There we go, 0.03, fine, leave it at that. And now we can apply our turbo smooth. Let's have a zoom around, pan around, that looks good. Control X, let's see it. Yep. So now what I can do is collapse this stack. But what I'm going to do is click on it over here and say convert to poly. Come on. Convert to poly. There we go. We have a few minutes left in this particular session, so I'd just like to show you something. Now, if we apply another turbo smooth, that's increasing the number of times that the mesh has been subdivided. So let's give an example here. As you can see, that really is high poly now, and I wouldn't really want to go to that level. However, let's just delete that. You'll notice that there does seem to be some rounding on the edges, and that is so, it is there. However, I found a nice way to get rid of that is to actually use NURMs. Now, NURMs are non-uniform rational mesh smoothers. People use this instead of using Turbo Smooth, but I like to combine them both together. So when it comes to the final part for the model, I'll just apply the NURMS subdivision. So I wouldn't worry too much about the rounding of these corners here. Okay, right, well, we're going to continue with the modeling of this section of the wing in the next session. So I'll catch you then.